Can you get the post, Hastings?
And why don't you go and get it yourself?
Très bien. What's going on? I've never known Hastings to be so disagreeable. Royal Mathematical and Statistical Society's Bulletin, September the 9th, 1935. The Alphabet Murder, a methodical madman. It's highly probable that the alphabet murderer will kill again. Could we possibly estimate the number of victims in his next crime? Yes, and it is easy. As soon as we know the ratio of towns, cities and villages whose names begin with a D and the ratio of English people whose names are spelled the same. On the one hand, the ratio of towns, cities and villages in England with a name starting with D, and on the other hand, the ratio of English people with a name also starting with D. After this initial calculation, it is easy to deduce the likelihood of actually being murdered if you belong to the target population. Go to the last page to find our results and details on the calculations. Daily Blag, August 31, 1935. Moustache at half-mast. Poirot's repeated failure in ABC case. Sometimes small things trouble great men. Hastings, faithful collaborator of the Belgian detective, knows something about it. 3 mornings in a row, he confided to us, the cook broke the egg yolks when preparing Poirot's breakfast. This apparently casual event has greatly disturbed my friend, to the point it breaks his concentration and slows his judgment. I also noticed his moustache, of which he is so proud, being duller than usual.
Poirot, I assure you I haven't said any such thing to the journalists. They twist everything.
Hastings' photo album. He is very proud of his bag. Churston, Devon, population 500 inhabitants. Hourly of trains. London, Churston. Trains of evening. London, 6:45 p.m. Newton about, 11 a.m. Churston, 11:45 a.m. London, 11:45 p.m. Newton about, 6:08 a.m. Churston, 7:15 a.m. It is now the right time. Poor Mr. Poirot. I'm quite sorry for you. If at first you don't succeed, try again. We've a long way to go still. Typery? No, that comes later. Letter T. The next little incident will take place in Doncaster on September 11th. So long. ABC. I should compare this letter with the one on my desk which I received earlier to see if it does indeed come from the same person. Let us examine this more closely. Certain characters in the two letters may have similar defects. Yes, the A appears to be quite unusual. Yes, this I is weird. Yes, the I characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. I have to find some other similar defects to confirm my theory. The W is not printed properly. Of course, the W characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. I have to find some other similar defects to confirm my theory. Yes, the A appears to be quite unusual. That's right. The A characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. My theory was right. These two letters were written with the same typewriter. Hastings, he strikes tomorrow. Chief Inspector Japp?
He's on another line. Can I take a message?
Yes, please, mademoiselle. It is from Hercule Poirot. Tell him ABC strikes tomorrow in Doncaster. He must call me back.
Very well, sir.
Bien, now I'm going to see what I can find from these burnt documents. I've received the product I need. Hastings, if you do not mind, I would like you to take a few notes.
Yes, yes.
Now, down to work. All of this needs putting in order a little. This page is finished. That's done. 3 more to go. This page is finished. And that's 2 done. It's easier than I thought. It's so simple. This page is finished. Only 1 more. Keep going. I think that this is right. This page is finished. All the pages are reconstructed. The cloth is now soaked with solvent. Got it! Make a note, Hastings, make a note. Mrs. Alice Asher, shop owner in Andover. Tracheitis, hemoptysis, prescribed laudanum.
I got it. Look. Poirot, where on earth did you find these files?
On a fire at the bottom of the garden at campsite.
All right, but where did the person who burned them find them?
Alice Asher, shopkeeper in Andover. Tracheitis, hemoptysis, chronic cough with loss of blood. Prescribed laudanum-based cough medicine. Betty Barnard, waitress in Bexhill. Chronic bronchitis causing dysphonia. Advised to stop smoking. Alexander Bonaparte Cust. War wounded, mustard gas and head trauma. Pulmonary emphysema. Hemoptysis. Coughing fits with blood. Suffers from absences and amnesia. Dick Dudley Dunbar, owner of the Black Swan Hotel in Doncaster. Asthmatic, heart disease, heart condition. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work. The burned documents are medical records, and without a doubt they come from Clark's archives. First of all, because all the patients have throat conditions. And secondly, their name starts with either A, B, C or D, and it is precisely the files that match these letters that have been tampered with.
But why burn these files? How come the names of the two victims appear on them? And who are the two other patients?
These are very good questions.
Hello, Poirot?
Any news, Chief Inspector?
You wanted a stocking seller? We have one. Reported by his landlady, who thought he was behaving suspiciously. He has the most unbelievable name.
Alexander Bonaparte Cust.
Yes, Alexander Bonaparte Cust? How did you guess? Poirot, you have magical powers. It's a serious lead. I called Doncaster. A person matching Cust's description has been seen at the station. He got off the train from London, but after that, nobody knows where he went.
Look for him at the Black Swan Hotel.
What? How do you know he's there?
Trust me, Chief Inspector.
You appear to be very sure of yourself. Very well. I'll call the Black Swan straight away. The owner is going to get a shock when he learns that there's a murderer under his roof.
Chief Inspector, I would rather call myself.
As you wish. Please go ahead.
Hello, the Black Swan. Hercule Poirot here. May I speak to the owner?
Speaking. Dick Dudley Dunbar. How can I help you?
Is there Mr. Cust among your guests?
He arrived today. Shall I call him for you?
No, it is you I wish to speak with.
But who is this Cust?
A crook.
A crook? He seems such a decent chap. Do you think that Cust might be dangerous? Oh, I do hope you're wrong. He seems so harmless, you know. Yes, completely harmless.
We must not overestimate the danger. After all, we are not absolutely sure he is guilty.
What should I do?
Watch him. If he leaves the hotel, watch where he is heading. I'll call the police in Doncaster immediately. When they arrive, keep out of the way.
Oh, indeed. I shall keep out of the way. I have a bad heart, you see, and a big shot could kill me. Thank you for having warned me.
Hello, Poirot. We have some good news. The police in Doncaster have caught our man at the Black Swan Hotel. They're sending him here by train. While we're waiting to question Cust, we could search his room in London.
Where does he live?
The Marbury Guest House.
I'll see you there.
Yes, but start without me. First of all, I have to sort out a few details for Cust's transfer.
I understand. À bientôt. Hastings, we are making good progress. Please go and search the room of our number one suspect.
With pleasure. I did have a dentist appointment, but I'll cancel.
The dentist. So that is why you were so nervous and bad-tempered.
A visit to the dentist is never an enjoyable prospect.
But an unavoidable one. Go to your appointment, Hastings. I will manage on my own. To Marbury Guest House, please. Marbury. There is a very pretty village by this name, in Cheshire. I've been going past this modest guest house for so long. I would never have thought that the ABC case would lead me here.
How do you do? You must be Mr. Hercule Poirot. Chief Inspector Japp told me that you might be coming.
Madame, you may be of valuable help to me.
It would be my pleasure to help you. Will there be some journalists there as well?
I think you might even be interviewed. You are a key witness.
I've suspected him for some time, but he appeared so harmless. Oh yes, sometimes he got angry and waved his arms about. But even then, he wasn't frightening. And he was as gentle as a lamb again immediately afterwards. It was only this morning that I understood. He told me he was going to Cheltenham, but my daughter saw him at Euston Station. It's not the right station. To get to Cheltenham, you have to take the train from Paddington. And what's more, Mr. Cust left behind an ABC with Doncaster underlined. As you can imagine, when I saw that, I called Scotland Yard.
Well done. You were right. He did go to Doncaster.
So I was right to warn the police.
Tell me, did you have any other reason to suspect Mr. Cust?
Well, he's odd. Sometimes he coughs really loudly and complains that his throat is burning, and sometimes he talks to himself and stares into space. He told me that it was because of a wound he got in the wall. His head hasn't been quite right since, he said. And then he was in Churston when that millionaire got murdered. I found his train ticket when I washed his coat. He didn't want me to wash his shirt. He washed it himself. But I did see big brown stains on it.
Do you think it was blood?
Well, when I saw them, I thought, look, he spilled his wine or his soup all over himself. But now that I think about it, well, they did look like blood.
Got used to travel for his work. Is that correct?
Oh, it wasn't for pleasure. He was always unwell on trains. But he had to sell his stockings around England. I have to respect my engagements, he used to say.
Do you know where Cust was at the time of the murder in Andover and Bexhill? On June the 21st and July the 25th?
No, I don't know. That was a while ago, you know.
But surely you keep a register.
It won't do you much good. Mr. Cuss rents his room for the year. If he goes away for a few days, I have no reason to make a note of it. Ah, I remember one thing. Bexhill's by the sea, right?
Indeed, it is a large seaside resort.
Well, as it happens, at the start of July, Mr. Cast asked me to repair his bathing dress. Suspicious, huh?
Very interesting. Please continue.
I also forgot to say that he started buying newspapers that talked about the case.
When did he start buying the newspapers?
Let's see. I think it was just after the millionaire's murder in Chertston. He didn't seem all that interested before that.
That will be all for now. I'm going to take a look at his room.
Take the key on the counter.
This woman appears to be in a good mood.
I really would like to help, but I think I've said all I have to say.
Mrs. Marbury is in a good mood. She's working very precisely in producing incredibly thin peel. It looks like I've found the real master of this house. There is no need to worry about the household cat. I'm sure that Mrs. Marbury lets it do what it pleases.
I don't think my register will help you. Mr. Cuss rents his room all year. If he goes away for a few days, I have no reason to make a note of it.
The truth is becoming apparent, and I have something to say to Mrs. Marbury. I have something to say to Mrs. Marbury. Mrs. Marbury, if I am to believe the register, you rented room 306 to a certain Mr. Fishman on the day of the Bexhill murder? Room 306 is Cust's room. Can you explain yourself?
Yes, I remember. Just for one night as a favour. Mr. Cust was away, all my other rooms were taken, and poor Mr. Fishman had nowhere to go.
It doesn't matter, provided that you remembered to change the sheets.
Oh, do you think so?
Laudanum Cameron's Chemists. Laudanum, a medicine for coughs. It is what Dr. Clark prescribed for Mrs. Asher. This subject would probably be useful to me. Diethyl barbituric acid, Johnson Company. I know this medicine. It is a powerful sedative. This subject would probably be useful to me. This dark stain. It could be blood, but goodness knows how long it has been there. How awful. This place is a real mess. The least we can say that Mr. Cust is not very concerned about order and balance. John Milligan, Managing Director, Silky Legs, Frederick Street, Leicester. To A.B. Cust, Marbury's Guest House, 1935, May the 21st. Dear Sir, further to our letters dated 5th and 10th of the month, we confirm we are you as door-to-door salesman, according to the conditions stated in our previous letters. We will send you the articles by mail and also a Redfield typewriter you will be using for every business letter. Regarding the schedule of your rounds, please do as following. June 21, Andover. Arrive by train the 20th in the evening and get a room at Station Hotel. Start your turn in the north part of the town. This letter establishes that Cust went to Andover, but the ink has hidden the destinations of his other trips. I know from Mrs. Marbury that he went to Churston. I just have to show that he went to Bexhill, and I will have proved that he was present at all the crime scenes. Did Cust drop it when he opened the window, or was it Mrs. Marbury while she was cleaning? I have to get the ribbon. How am I going to do it? The right-hand heel has been removed. The left-hand heel has been removed. And here is the ribbon. Let us see if it was indeed used to write the letters sent by ABC. I only need the ink ribbon for my inquiry. I will let Jack clean the keyboard if he wishes. All the letters announcing the murders were written on Cust's typewriter. Cust is parsimonious. He keeps his pencils and sharpens them until there is nothing left. It is clear that he did not grow up in luxury. It's an ABC. A long-bladed knife. A murderer's weapon. This subject would probably be useful to me. ABC guys. Enough to sign about a dozen murders. It's closed. This knife is very useful. Who knows? Maybe it never cut anything other than string. Stockings. It is now the right time. Trousers, white shirts. Everything has been washed very well. The Bexhill daily paper, dated from the day of the Bexhill murder. Most probably the basting dress repaired by Mrs. Marbury's expert hands. All the main articles referring to the ABC case are here, from the Churston murder onwards. Nothing before that date. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work. The register shows that Cust did not sleep at the guest house on the day of the murder. Where was he? Bexhill. The Bexhill paper reveals it. Cust bought this newspaper in Bexhill on July the 25th. No use continuing the inspection of this room. I've seen all there is to see. Goodbye, Mrs. Marbury. Thank you for your help.
Bye.
Ah, Chief Inspector. I was about to leave.
Good evening, Chief Inspector. Welcome. Please excuse me, I must go to the kitchen. I'll leave the key of Mr. Cust on the counter.
I'm sorry I'm late. I've spent ages with the Doncaster police. And you?
I have established one fact. On 3 occasions, Cust was at the scene on the day of the crimes.
I've listened closely to what you have to say, Poirot. For me, there's no doubt Cust is guilty. Do you have any element that might prove the contrary?
That is what we're going to look for. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
The evidence against Cust is overwhelming. His presence at the scenes, the knife, the blood-stained shirt, the ABCs in a box.
C'est vrai. However, the blood Mrs. Marbury saw on Cust's shirt may have been his own. According to his medical records, he suffers from hemoptysis. The murderer cut Sir Carmichael's throat from behind, and the blood spurted outwards. You would expect the murderer's shirt to be stained on the sleeves, not on the buttonholes, yet we see quite the opposite. You would expect the murderer to keep the newspaper articles about his crimes. But Cust's collection starts in Cheston, as if it discovered the case rather late.
I agree it's troubling, but it doesn't change my mind. There's small details that we should be able to clear up by questioning Cust.
When can we talk to him?
Doncaster is sending him to us on the first train.
Are they questioning him already?
He says he can't remember a thing.
It's plausible. Doctors say he suffers from absences and amnesia. Mrs. Marbury has confirmed this.
He may have done the murders in an altered state.
A familiar situation.
It's not enough to clear his name. Dr. Thompson insisted that even if you don't know what you're doing, you never commit a murder without wanting to.
Très intéressant. I shall remember that.
Right. I'll go and examine the suspect's room.
Chief Inspector, I took the liberty of removing a few clues to examinatum.
All right, we'll discuss them tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to see if you've missed something.
To Scotland Yard, please. This man is not in good shape. He is worried and very tired, and other police have been hard on him.
What do you want from me?
Good day, Mr. Cust. I am Hercule Poirot.
Ah, you're the detective.
Why did you send me a letter before each crime?
Why all these questions? When are you going to stop pestering me?
Très bien. You did not hide these letters. But the question remains, who did?
Probably one of my enemies. I have many.
I do not believe that you are capable of murder, Mr. Cust.
I hope not.
You suffered during the war.
It's true. I was wounded. I suffered. But the army was the only place I didn't feel inferior. No questions. Just orders to follow.
But ever since you were wounded, you have absences, bouts of amnesia.
And headaches.
Professor Clark treated you.
Yes, a few years ago he really helped me with my burned throat.
Of course, you never considered killing a doctor who took such good care of you.
No, never.
You were seen at all the crime scenes.
Yes, I was. I travel a lot, but not for pleasure. I am terribly unwell in trains. But I had to respect my engagements. My employer gave me very precise written instructions about the towns I had to visit.
Let's see. The company you claim to work for, Silky Legs, has never heard of you. And as for these letters they sent you, they were written on your own typewriter.
The company sent me the typewriter when I started working for them.
Yes, but the letters were received afterwards. So it would appear that you typed them before sending them to yourself.
I don't remember. Good God! I don't know what's happening to me. My head hurts terribly.
Take this. It will help you.
Oh, I think I'll be fine.
Let us see, Cust. Look at me. You know very well that you committed these murders?
Yes, I know.
But I'm not wrong in saying that you do not know why you committed them.
No, I don't.
Let us leave Cust alone. He's at the end of his tether.
And what conclusions have you drawn?
Plenty. It might help us to understand him a little better. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
I don't see any clearer than before. This is worse.
There is one point to highlight. C'est curieux. Cust admits that he killed, but he does not know why. What did Dr. Thompson say? Even if Cust killed while in an altered state, it still must have been his deepest desire. He must have had a motive.
Let's keep it simple. Never mind his motive. He confessed.
But you see, he can confess to anything and everything. He denied the murders and then confessed to them. He confirmed that he never typed the letters, then with great ease, I managed to get him say quite the opposite.
Come on, he behaved like a guilty man. He lied to his landlady.
Because deep down he believes himself guilty. From the papers he noticed that he had always been at the scene of the crimes. He must think that he killed and then simply forgot what he had done.
How can you be so sure?
Let us look at his psychological profile. You will understand my point of view. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work. You see, Cust's character is quite the opposite of the murderer's.
But if he's a madman, can we really talk about his character?
You know very well that our murderer does not behave like a psychopath. Apart from the signature, there is no ritual repetition in the choice of victims.
Very well, you're right as always. So we have no confession, no culprit, no suspects, nothing. And all that after 2 months of inquiry? What should I do?
Have faith. Just give me 24 hours. To Whitehaven, please.
Cust's arrest is a great success for you, Poirot. It's all clear now, except maybe 1 or 2 details.
Details. Ah, mon ami. The devil is in the detail, as we say.
Excuse me?
Patience, Hastings. Everything will be clear once our guests arrive. Best be prepared. Slip a revolver into your pocket before they do.
A revolver? But Poirot, what are you afraid of?
Trust me. It is important you carry a weapon for this meeting. I will lend you mine.
What about telling me what you have in mind?
Surtout pas. You wouldn't be able to play your role. Wait 1 moment, I will bring you my weapon. Daily Flicker, September the 11th, 1935. ABC affair, Terminus Doncaster. Japp and Poirot arrest the killer. A.B. Cust is the name of the alphabet murderer. The police have arrested him in a hotel in Doncaster. was preparing to kill his fourth victim, Mr. Dick Dudley Dunbar, the establishment manager. Mr. Dunbar owes his life to the miraculous intervention of Inspector Japp of Scotland Yard and Detective Hercule Poirot. The Lancet, September 11th, 1935. General Medical Journal. The alphabet murderer is not psychotic, according to Professor Thompson. In an early issue, we claimed that the alphabet murderer was not psychotic. Our assertion has just been confirmed by Professor Thompson, a Scotland Yard expert, who has spoken to the prisoner at great length. Not all obsessional killers are psychotic, he explained. It is true that Christie has a disturbed personality and memory disorders. But his amnesia, whether real or pretended, does not alter the fact that he was perfectly lucid at the time of his acts. Therefore, he will not escape punishment. Hastings' photo album. He is very proud of his bag. Churston, Devon, population 500 inhabitants. The white ammunition are blank cartridges. The others are real bullets. The revolver is loaded with blanks. I still have time to choose real bullets. Voila, I entrust you with my weapon. It has hardly been used, it is almost new. Chief Inspector, is that you?
Yes. Sorry, but we haven't found anything.
Have you checked the typewriter?
And the packaging, the letter, and the ribbon reel. We've only found prints left by Christie and his landlady.
Well, never mind, I shall make do.
So, are you still going to hold your meeting?
Of course, Chief Inspector. I can hear my guest coming up the stairs.
Why have you brought us here, Mr. Poirot?
Since Cust's arrest, I thought it was all done and dusted. Miss Gray formally identified him, as well as Miss Barnard.
Yes, and the stockings he saw drove the same brand as the ones found at my aunt's.
This is all true. However, a case is not closed if some questions remain open. And one question is, why did the murderer send me his letters? Why did he challenge me, Hercule Poirot?
Perhaps he wanted to play with you, to taunt you.
Xenophobia? Maybe he didn't like you because you're foreign.
I may be wrong, but maybe by provoking you he was looking for glory?
All these theories should be studied. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work. Is everything clear now?
You might like to explain your reasoning again.
Of course. First of all, remember that the murderer made it a rule to always post his letter before the murder. He never digressed from that rule. However, in Churston, he encountered a problem. The village has only 500 inhabitants. With advance warning, it would be easy to arrest him. Therefore, the murderer delayed his letters deliberately with the wrong address. The plan wouldn't have worked if he'd sent it to Scotland Yard or the papers because everybody knows their addresses. The mistake would have been corrected and the letter would have been on time. That is why the murderer chose me as the recipient.
Because for his plan to succeed, it was necessary for at least one of the letters to have a wrong address and get lost. It was very cunning.
Absolument. It is a very subtle plan. It matches the profile we have drawn up of him perfectly. That of an intelligent, daring and calculating murderer.
But that's not how you describe Cust.
You are quite right, mademoiselle. Like you, I find it hard to believe that this dull character is the clever murderer we are looking for.
Do madmen... I mean, if he's mad, he might have two very different sides.
No doubt. But the murderer is not mad. All the specialists agree that he does not have the profile of the psychopath.
But if Cust is not guilty, how do you explain his presence at the scene of the crimes?
Mr. Clark, the answer to your question is in the medical records of your brother's patients. Documents which Cust most certainly did not have access to. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work. Dr. Clark's patients' records provided a very useful list of potential victims, sorted by alphabetical order. The killer definitely used it, explaining the fact that all the victims were former patients of the doctor. It is this fact that clears Cust once and for all, because he never had access to these records. So how did he happen to be at the scene of the crimes? Either the murderer sent him there, or Cust was following him closely. Cust's highly suggestible nature leads us to the second hypothesis. The murderer was manipulating him. He systematically sent Cust to the towns where he was going to strike, so that the suspicion would land on the poor man's shoulder.
That's evil. What sort of killer could have such a plan? And what would he gain from 3 completely different murders?
Indeed, it seems unlikely that the same murderer committed all the crimes. What should we take from that? Just one murder was of benefit to the murderer, the others were just diversions. On reflection, there is only one conclusion. The murderer killed once out of interest, and twice to divert our attention. This reasoning points at 2 potential culprits.
Franklin Clark.
Donald Fraser?
Yes, mademoiselle, that's good thinking. Mr. Fraser may have killed Betty out of jealousy. Mr. Clark may have killed his brother in order to inherit his large fortune. Both have a motive.
But Donald did not have access to Dr. Clark's records.
Please allow me to disagree with you, mademoiselle. He works for Court and Brunskill, one of whose clients was Sir Carmichael.
It doesn't prove that I went to Comeside.
You could have done it, and you may have used the opportunity to take a look at Sir Carmichael's records.
You think I'm guilty?
You or Mr. Franklin Clark?
That's ridiculous.
Both of you have a motive. The question is, which of you has the profile that most resembles the murderer? Let us now try and get our brain cells to work. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald may share many character traits with the murderer, but he does not have his cold indifference. He has a temper. It is hard to imagine him planning anything. Also, jealousy is his motive, and crimes of passion are rarely planned.
Right, I suppose it's my turn to be subjected to the same scrutiny.
Absolument, Mr. Clark. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work. As you have all seen, there is a disturbing similarity between Mr. Clark's profile and that of the killer. In actual fact, it is exactly the same.
Mr. Poirot, your psychological studies are interesting, but your conclusions do not add up. Why would I have wished my brother's death? The inheritance is lawfully mine. I just have to wait.
No, you had to act quickly. Because of Miss Grey. Mademoiselle, although you haven't been telling the truth, There is no doubt in my mind that you would have found a way to marry Sir Carmichael after Lady Clark's death. For you, Mr. Clark, it was a disaster. If Miss Grey had children by your brother, you would not have inherited a thing. You realized the danger after reading several letters from Comside, especially one in which your brother opened his heart to you. So you hurried home from China, and you took action. In truth, Cust was no more than a puppet manipulated by the real culprit. You, Mr. Clark.
Such an imagination, Mr. Poirot. In fact, nobody manipulated Cust. The famous instructions he received by post. He wrote them on the typewriter. We know that for sure.
Oh no. You know perfectly well. That is not true. Eh bien voilà. Light has now been shed on the ABC murders.
Your theories are ingenious, but you haven't any proof.
One point to him. For the moment, I have no material proof. Either I admit to it, or I bluff. One thing proves it. The prints you left on Cust's typewriter.
Enough.
Oh, of course you wiped the typewriter before sending it. But not carefully enough. Scotland Yard has found your print along with those of Cust.
I understand why you never wanted to lend me your new typewriter, and why you were searching through your brother's things. And the hole you dug on the moors. What did you hide there? The knife you used to kill your brother?
Game, set, match. You win, Mr. Poirot. But it was worth trying. Don't come near me! I'll never let you take me, Mr. Poirot.
I'm sorry, Mr. Clark, there is no easy death for you. I expected your reaction, so I used blanks. I'm sorry, mademoiselle, but your second chance has been lost. Franklin Clark will never inherit his brother's fortune.
Disappointed at having missed the chance to become Lady Clark, Thora Grey left England. Donald Fraser and Megan Barnard married. On Poirot's recommendation, Mary Drower started to work for Lady Clark. The elderly lady's condition suddenly took a turn for the better. And a few months later, to Dr. Logan's great surprise, she was back on her feet again. According to this eminent physician, it appears to be an extremely rare case of spontaneous remission. Lady Clark has enjoyed very good health ever since. Journal of an Innocent. The incredible story of ABC. As for A.B. Cust, after being advised by Poirot, he made a great deal of money by selling his story to the press. And as for me, and with business booming, the Black Swan has become the #1 tourist attraction in the whole of Yorkshire, even more popular than York Minster.
When Franklin understands that his brother's inheritance is going to be stolen from under his nose, he decides to get rid of him. In order not to be considered as a suspect, he has the idea of including the murder as part of a series that the police would put down to a madman. Franklin uses Sir Carmichael's medical records to choose his victims as well as the ideal suspect, Alexander Bonaparte Cust, who was seriously wounded in the war and suffers from bouts of amnesia. Franklin writes the letters he will send me before each murder on his own typewriter in advance. He contacts Cust by letter and offers him a job. Cust is convinced that he is working for a hosiery company. In reality, it is Franklin that sends him his instructions, his goods, and even his typewriter. When we receive the first letter, Hastings thinks that it is a joke. As for me, filled with foreboding, I prefer to inform Chief Inspector Japp. Following his written instructions, Cust goes to Andover. He visits Mrs. Asher's tobacco shop and sells her a pair of stockings. After Cust's visit, Franklin, in turn, enters the tobacco shop. Mrs. Asher is not suspicious of the murderer, whom she takes to be an ordinary customer. The old lady turns around to take a packet of cigarettes. She is beaten to death. We investigate the first murder with Hastings. No suspect has a motive. A few weeks later, we receive a second letter signed ABC. Chief Inspector Japp is informed. The victim's name should start with the letter B. Alexander Bonaparte Cust goes to Bexhill. He sells Mrs. Barnard a pair of stockings. Betty Barnard leaves her work. She's dressed to go out. The young woman is strangled on the beach. Betty was killed by the man who had arranged to meet her that evening, the seducer Franklin Clark. In Bexhill, Donald Fraser appears to be the perfect suspect for Betty's murder, but he has no connection with Mrs. Asher. 5 days after the Bexhill murder, Cust goes to Churston for his work. In the afternoon, Sir Gray turns away a stocking seller. After dinner, Sir Carmichael Clark takes his usual walk. His brother waits for him, hidden behind a bush. The murderer leaps out from his hiding place and cuts Sir Clark's throat. The third letter arrived late. Franklin deliberately wrote a wrong address. In Churston, Thorogray and Franklin Clark are the main suspects. Back in London, Cust is seized by violent coughing fit and brings up blood. He stains his shirt, which later frightens his landlady. We receive the final letter from ABC. The next murder will be in Doncaster. The second general meeting in London highlights the common point between the victims, stockings, and a throat condition. Cust's landlady telephones the Scotland Yard to tell them about her suspicions. Cust is arrested shortly afterwards in Doncaster. Franklin had planned a fourth murder in Doncaster. He abandons the idea after Cust's arrest. Cust confesses to the crimes he did not commit. He's an easy culprit. Too easy. Franklin Clark is unmasked. He is the true culprit and the man who manipulated Cust. And there we have it. Another case solved by Hercule Poirot.